this. Chakras align like stars. I'm so against jail, I don't rhyme in bars. I hate old fools, woke up see jewels. Got gods taking knowledge out of the racist schools, bringing it back to the block think tank. Knowledge is the real money if you want Big Bang. Old fogies thinking that they're elders. Get Bloods and Crips, put them together like a welder. We need turf truces, the gangsters combined. See sisters as goddesses and our concubines. See black teachers as high priests, white ones as Greeks, trying to say that they smart cause of the paper degrees, mixing up Christ and some racist beliefs. I see God every day when I'm walking the streets. Gold front stems on their feet, summer and beef. Some are too caught up and they playing for keeps, kissing his teeth with the Glock, your ass to sleep. God grace breaking out AIDS to Icelandic sheep. God's even working for police and doing the sweeps. I'm God flowing vivid like your REM sleep. Hey yo, what you sow is what you reap. Most act like animals when you are what you eat. I turn your sight inward from noble to chic, from thinking niggas to niggas to even the mafia has still lost the tribe of Shabazz. Days and L's and Bays, they ain't going back in the days. These fallen angels are the youth warring today. Misdirected, they say young God, not dog, to make their side clear through the illusion fog. Like poof, you're gone with no proof you're on. Till you crack the loving niggas if you want respond. Like poof, you're gone with no proof you're on. Till you nigga hating crackers if you want response. Like poof, you're gone with no proof you're on. Till you crack the loving niggas if you want response. Like poof, you're gone with no proof you're on. They're using candidates Manchurian to respond. No time for games, no time for names. We are against principalities, time for change. Hell no, I'm not Doctor Strange. He's the doctor, putting antibiotics in your veins, telling you it's human when it's actually mains and synthetics. Balance out electrics with magnetics, burn out heretics. I wear pendants without the gold necklace, and if I bring that back, so comes the gat. Crack the whip, I clap from the hip to dip. I raise my vibration, I take off the space, not a ship. No throttles, drinking liquor that spirits of bottles. Looking like Kareem Jabbar in clubs with goggles, not even a center. Man, you so on point, you need more than a detox and oyster more than a flush out. Your brain's mushed out, I'm protected in the circle, so when I call the reaches rush out.
Like, proof you gone, no proof you wrong. Got to love it, nigga, haters, candidates respond. Like, proof you gone, no proof you wrong. Got to love it, nigga, haters, candidates respond. Like, proof you gone, no proof you wrong. Got to love it, nigga, haters, candidates respond. Like, proof you gone, no proof you wrong. Got to love it, nigga, haters, candidates respond. Always speak the truth, always want peace. Fighting for justice till we get released. Living for freedom, rise high above. And most of all, always show love. Speak the truth, always want peace. Fighting for justice till we get released. Living for freedom, rise high above. And most of all, always show love.
We are live here at Oak Hall where the Moors have returned. Sir, do you have anything to say about this matter?
Yeah. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
Yep. Sir, what do you have to say?
I just want to put on the record. I'm not like
Yeah. What he said.
Moors' life matters.
More lives matter. It seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Shot in the back, running or choked out to death on the corners. Mistake to stays off on his side, says the coroner. To the yellow journalist that won awards for writing facts. For worldwide web press stories, always calling them black. Civil rights violated, here comes C1-7. And CIA and FBI agent, brethren, felons with what Big Brother once heard. Most Moors are nerds and study more than if I'm on the road, no biting curbs. Prophets of mooses are fighting for survival. Making Moors martyrs won't happen, calling us captain rival. Inquisitionists, governors, and secretaries of state got stateless on their tables like ribeye steak. With no care, blood dripping, they eat blacks rare. Foreigners wearing 6-point badges, pretending they're heirs to the vastness estate for Grib Al-Aqsa. Stateless blood flow past a horse's brow, I swear it's agua. Demons thirst quench, stealing pioneers and organs. Psychiatry, death industry, the stars selling black orphans. And half-closed coffins, cause legs are missing. Killing stateless people, cancer won't even see remission. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter.
System, what system? Not gonna make myself no victim. Run down and kick them up, educate oneself and flip them. All of the titles or nationality strips them. Must grip reality in order to really grip them in this third dimensional illusion. Organized chaos, confusion, stealing your attention. Mental intrusion, universal laws, declaration of the ancient. I self-law and master from the rooftops to the basements. Root deep to the spaceship, ever since all creations. Celestial foundations, ocean floor to the ranges, to the mountain tip, to the cosmic infinite. Basically, we are way above the shit. In other words, get in tune with spirit. Take a breath and accept mental polarity, gender, rhythm, correspondence, vibration, cause and effect.
More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter.
More lives matter cause I sing it no sound off. It gets defective when rejected, looking ass off. Give my perspective when directed to replay. All the rules that I'm replay till they want to cast off. Bury them, on to the next one. None of them are burning down. Dudes them a cast cross. Can't believe I told me that. Can't believe I Tosh Cross. Trayvon, Michael Brown died for us to find cars. The afterlife visited the class brawl. Who they really want to see with the crown on high and the guards on free? I am free and enough is this but your land or your country to seek your inalienable rights. The insatiable delight of knowing thyself and bringing all injustice to light. What the fight is your play, make your sight for the bright. I'm the mic in the night. Foresight for you to realize that, huh?
More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Cause it seems like black lives don't matter.
Peace, y'all. Peace, Grand Sheik. We're live.
Peace. We're live, yo. Let's get it.
Yeah, man. So this song here I'm gonna play. Before I play the song, I just want to say, man, happy 10-year anniversary, man. Yeah, we big up the not enough love and truth, peace, freedom, justice, and extra amount of respect for you guys, for the Canaanland Moors, for us, for all of us that have been doing it, and you yourself especially, and everybody for 10 years. You guys just did the 10-year anniversary of the Noble Jubilee Day, right?
Oh, 11.
That was 11. Okay.
Yeah, 11.
That's a big one. That's a big door opening.
Gates open, yo. The gates open.
And how many years before that? Probably a good 10 years before that, doing culture educators and what have you. So and respect, and it's honored respect for that, man.
Give thanks, yo. You already know.
So what we're gonna play right now is a song I'm coming up with on my album Street Shaman. It's called Give Thanks. And let's play that.
Give thanks, I pray I should. 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 Pour it all out from my heart.
Give thanks and praise before anything can start. Hold it clear and firm in the power of the thought. Word, sound, and power, bringing light through the dark. Pour it all out from the heart. Give thanks and praise before anything can start. Hold it clear and firm in the power of the thought. Word, sound, and power, bringing light through the dark. I give thanks and praise for the Most High's grace. I'm blessed to manifest in this time and space. I give thanks and praise every morning as I raise. Before I rest my head at night to sleep. Before I even sit and have a bite to eat, I shall repeat. I give thanks and praise for my mom and dad's ways. The way that I was raised, I'll make the man I am today. As I turn the water on to bathe or sit and watch my children play and sit still and pray. Give thanks and praise for the moon and sun rays and the stars in your eyes. For the deepest dark space and the baby blue skies. For truth instead of lies, for friends instead of spies. Peace, joy, and laughter over screams and cries. Every day I'm alive with every move that I make. Step in, breath that I take it in deep and appreciate. All the love we create, I'm always in a higher state. Waking trance, I meditate as I keep and hold the faith. Never hesitate to give continual thanks and praises. God has walked me through all of my stages, blessed me through all of my phases. Co-wrote all of these pages, remain when everything faded. Humble myself, no one could take this. I feel so blessed, like I already made it. So sacred. If I'ma say one thing, I'ma say it. Walk with the love and left the hatred. Amen. Pour it all out from the heart. Give thanks and praise before anything can start. Hold it clear and firm in the mind with your thoughts. Words sounding power, bringing light through the dark. Pour it all out from the heart. Give thanks and praise before anything can start. Hold it clear and firm in the mind with your thoughts. Words sounding power, bringing light through the dark. Yo, cause I don't know no more what these bad mind people really have in store, or what the far or near future really holds. Not gonna lose grip as it all unfolds. The only thing that's for sure is the spirit and soul. My heart and my mind as I shine like gold. I'm aware as I stand in total control. I keep and hold the faith, no I won't let go. No, I just gotta hold on. Cause it's me, my family depends on. Yeah, I just gotta stand strong. To anything coming into my direction, yeah, I'm just gonna keep on. And as long as there's breath in me, ain't nothing stopping me. Keep on, and as long as there's breath in me, ain't nothing stopping me.
All right, y'all, give thanks. Maybe we'll play another song at the end. If not, we'll play some more music next time.
That Street Shaman's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I almost want to play them the 5-star. What do you say? You want to play it or save it for another time again?
Let me see if I find it.
I have it here. You want to play it?
Because I was gonna play it from my thing so we could get the.
All right, let's give them one more since we're on the music still. Yeah, well, this is the 5-star. Look out for the song and the video for the springtime of this song. It's called 5-star, and it's featuring the album, super group 5-star, which is one and only Iron Sheik, Anonymous. You got DN, DN from the Brass Tacks, and you got Rock Carlel, and then you got, of course, myself, KTS last. And yeah, it's on the KTS Street Shaman album coming out in the summer, next summer, or this summer, this spring, late spring, summer. So yeah, let's play for them.
This is the updated one, by the way.
Yo, we live by 10 laws, 5 principles. Initiation, meditation, 5 rituals. We live by 10 laws, 5 principles. 1 nation, 1 God, indivisible. We live by 10 laws, 5 principles. Initiation, meditation, 5 rituals. We live by 10 laws, 5 principles. 1 nation, 1 God, indivisible. Bringing forth light through the dark. That's the first thing that you at least taught. You're a divine being, can be sold, no be bought. Like a star, all caps like a corporation. You're a star off the chart from the constellation. This is serious beat, you gotta save the nation. No procrastination, pick up the GS and tactical teachers. Knowledge of self, not paperwork, gon' free us. Robin never, I'm in the real middle curious. And a female base, one of the truest to ever do this. Middle finger to you conscious fucks that turn Judas. Criminal minded, took a lifetime to cure this. The lies of my eyes, that's what the wisdom of the womb is. The wisdom of the womb is what the ultimate truth is. Chorus watching you actions, don't care who knew this. Manetta is peace, Islam like a Buddhist. 10 lies, 5 principles, yeah, to eliminate the flaws, align the individual. This is the effect of the cause, complex, what's so simple. So simple, take a pause, take in the instrumental. Things coincide, nothing coincidental. No mistake, nothing accidental. Occupy the space, we call it the temple. Open up the safe, give them what's essential. If they violate fingernails and the dentals, ain't leaving no trace. Elements are fundamental. Apply the law of attraction. What you do has the opposite of equal reaction. The answer plans and shit without action. 10 laws of 5 principles, these audible, really outstanding, laws answerable, immutable, and non-constitutional bylaws. These laws of 5 principles, that article. Enforceable, disorbital, so official, and all constitutional. Tax law fingerprints, my seal be my thumb fingerprint. Red ink stamp, shut down the Big Bang. 10+7 articles, that's it, man. A dumb don't get it. Sun gon' set, gon' be a big bang. I'm more beautiful, that's a good thing. God has to trust. Y'all wanna fuck? Call for some red shoes. Y'all wanna bless fool with a hood wing. Make your skin tabby leather, trying to be something you can never. Black's dead necro. I'm a full of life spectral. Whistleblower, lot of planet. That's before designer. You're not a man, you an iguana. Who said we're not in Africa? Look up Gunzwana. But guns wanna cuss, let them go on, y'all. Learn your unbelievables. Tell you more, but it's unbelievable.
We live by 10 laws, 5 principles. Initiation, meditative, our rituals. We live by 10 laws, 5 principles. One nation, one God, indivisible. We live by 10 laws, 5 principles. Initiation, meditative, our rituals. We live by 10 laws, 5 principles. One nation, one God, indivisible.
Principles, get your conduct straight. Crocodile back, divine law violators won't give a smile back, much less a nod. When I hail up, they screw face up. So deaf like Harvey have their two faces up. Trust less, cause trust more is left for worthy. No principles but justice. For the ones that's dirty. Planes correspond from matter to energy. Swimming in the sub-realms for mental and spirit affinity. Vibrate and cause light and heat magneticity. From the lower mind to the higher mind, rest simplicity. The rules, the capacity for pain and pleasure is so balanced. You can cause an imbalance. Never you're taking chances on rappers. I move with law and order. Outside and independent of all is chaos, disorder. Cause the root of everything that happens or doesn't. Denying effect means the law is repugnant. Elevation stunted, even drunk or blunted. Will have you misdirected by the false pundits. Trying to hit a grand slam when you should have hunted. Spiritual abundance keeps demons dungeons.
That spooky shit's not mystical. The boogeyman you fear is invisible. The cookie that you smoke's not original. The pussy said the stroking is minuscule. The God in the flesh, indivisible. For now, that's why it's called individual. Can't divide the two, and this God's criminal. Y'all about, but I'm cynical. Invincible among bare minimals. Maximizing 10 law, 5 principles. That's the guy that comes with no shit dibble, no fucks, facts around facts, centrifugal, mass reach a critical, peeling the pineal back, reach the pinnacle, sealing the deal with no ceiling, no floor, while I ridicule the charming snakes that limit you and christen you. We live by 10 laws, 5 principles. Initiation, meditative, our rituals. We live by 10 laws, 5 principles. One nation, one God, indivisible. We live by 10 laws, 5 principles. Initiation, meditative, our rituals. We live by 10 laws, 5 principles. One nation, one God, indivisible.
Keys on keys.
I feel like I cheat if we cheat them. If we play music and we don't play that song until the video comes out for like a year, you know, we're just cheating people. Like we can't do that to
Can't do that.
You gotta play it for them. That will have a video and it will get an official release on everything on all platforms, you know, by summertime or so, spring, summer, so on the streets.
Oh yeah, you wanna for maybe the people who this is their first time. You want to give a quick recap before the video?
You know, if there's people here for the first time, you definitely need a recap. So in the first 2 to 3 lessons, we talked a lot about the Kemetic and Moorish connection, and respectfully, you'll have to really go back into those videos just to see where the connection comes from. Just so offhand, you know, the Honorable Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the first thing that he taught in the Americas was the bringing forth to day by night, the Book of the Dead, as they call it, and that's why they call it the Book of the Dead, because dead is black. So, anyways, that's what he taught. And during those times, I believe early 1900s, he basically said, you know, he created or I don't know the right words to use. She
Yeah.
was created and also, you know, brought to light the Circle 7 Quran and a lot of the information and the mysteries as far as what he wanted to do is really simplify things for those times, right? We were not living in the age of education and information those times. Now we have multiple cross-reference of materials. Back then it wasn't the case. So he created and brought to life the Circle 7 Quran, which is embedded with metaphysical Kemetic information, pretty much almost all of it, if not all of it, really much in some way, shape, or form. So that was the essence, and there's just so much connections in regards to Islam, meaning a man in peace, and the top 5 principles of the Kemetic tree of life are actually the 5 principles. So it shows you, like, right now and in general, overall, we would study the complete 11 laws in the Ausarian tree of life, and you can literally see how Noble Drew Ali took the top 5 principles and created the 5 principles of Moorish science, and it directly connects. And when you actually draw the line in the 5 points, just draw a line that connects the 5 points, you see the 5 star, the Moorish flag star right there. So it's a lot of things. So just go into the videos. What we're going to do today, definitely get your pens and papers out, because we're not doing question and answer during this. It's just heavy information one time. Write down your questions. I would have 2 pieces of paper. One that to write down the trees of what we're going to do is I'm literally starting at the beginning, and I'm going through both trees of life and explaining why we focus on one for now, but anyways. And then so definitely get your pen and paper so you can document and draw out all the trees of life right now, both trees of life, and then you can have questions. So 1 piece of paper for questions, and then we'll answer at the end, because we're not going to be stopping anything unless something major happens. We're just going to make it go right through. Okay. So that's it. Get your pen and paper, and that's it.
And also too, for the other classes, you can go to the original Canaanland Moors YouTube under the Kemetic Moorish connection playlist, and everything's on there. We're going live from 2 Canaanland Moors 2, because we had some trolls trying to get us shut down over there. And we got 2 strikes right now. 1 more strike and page is shut down. So we're on the backup right now, just so that we could keep doing what we do with regard to putting this information out.
Yeah, man. You know, I'm just gonna say more fire than judgment, man.
I need flames all day for them people.
That's all.
You already know how they do. They can't stop this though. Especially as Noble Drew Ali week and all that. They ain't stopping this.
Yeah, what a coincidence, right?
Right. They're not stopping this.
Yeah, man. So enough respect and love to the righteous souls, man.
Sure.
And one out the wicked. All right. Give thanks to everybody for your time today.
Honors to all the Moors in the chat and all the mothers. Peace to all the mothers.
Exactly. Give thanks to the matriarch. Honor the matriarchs. All right. So we ready to go?
Yeah, Moor. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Give thanks. That we're dealing with laws. Okay. So as we start to build the tree. So just that quick point, cosmology is what the reason is this class is called cosmology is that we're dealing with law. So as we start to build the tree, we've got to get into the law and why we focus on Kemetic and the law specifically. Don't worry if you miss anything, it'll be uploaded. You can go back and continue your drawing. You have immutable laws of nature, and that's what cosmology is dealing with. It goes into immutable laws. Okay. So just like basically any Kemetic now, okay, just like man's essential being, it was composed of 2 systems, okay, and this is where a lot of misunderstanding comes into play, because there's so many different gods and what have you. So it's very, very simple, and it must be simplified in order for it to be a relative information, practical information. So man's being, okay, and we're very careful with the words we use, okay? Being, man's being, is composed of a self and you're not self. Okay? And yourself is your consciousness, will, and your non-self is your spirit, which is energy matter. So this is a very, very basic composition. People get to misunderstandings thinking that they are the spirit, not understanding that their being is essentially spiritual, but they're not the spirit themselves. Who we truly are is the awareness that resides within us, our consciousness, our awareness. Okay? So just as there's two systems, or just as there's two components of man's being, okay, and we should read the woman's being also, I'm sorry. Okay? Womb and being, okay? Man, woman, being is composed of two, just like there's two systems within charismatic cosmology. Okay, you had a raw system, okay, which was composed of the rituals, okay, rituals that we did in order to energize this certain part of the spirit. The spirit is composed of 7 divisions, which we're not going to get into because it's a whole other class within itself. It can also be broken down into 5, okay, to make it simpler, which in essence is your divine spirit, yourself, yeah, divine spirit, where the self resides, okay? The higher mind, lower mind, okay, life force, and physiological functions, including the body. So in this book, body and all physiological functions. So divide up the spirit as we know it into 7 divisions. You have the aspect where your self resides, which is your divine part, where the 11 laws reside, okay, where the laws reside. That's the divine part of your spirit. You have the higher mind, which you reason, which basically deals with the reasoning and understanding, okay, of law. So we have reasoning, okay, and then we're going to have application, very important, of all these laws. The reasoning and application, okay, and that's where rituals come into play. You have to know what you're doing and then do it. So you have 5 divisions of spirit, okay, it's divine self, in which the 11 laws reside. Your awareness needs to reside as God. You have the higher mind, in which the reasoning of the laws takes place. You have the lower mind, where thoughts come in and out and all this ish that we think about. You have the life force, which is the energy, basic raw energy, and the body itself. All these are actually divisions of your spirit, okay? The body is a division of the spirit. This is spirit, okay? Respiration, it is spirit, it's dense. Higher and lower density of the spirit. This is our not self, okay? The only aspect of self that's here, and I have to be careful because, again, spirit is not self. So I'm saying that the only part of self that can reside in this is our awareness of being aware itself, which is the law. So the spirit is our not self. It's our energy matter. The awareness within is our true self, okay? Thus, there was 2 systems, okay? We had the raw system, which energized the spirit, which is divided into 7, okay? Which you had Ra at the head, Tefnut and Shu, which is electromagnetic energy. Okay, you have etheric energy, and more physical watery energy. Okay, negative and positive. Negative and positive. And this would where God, quote unquote, where the Godhead or faculty of Atum comes into play, or Atum ray comes into play, because this is the basic composition of an atom, literally. And that's why all of this has to come into an understanding that it has something to do with right down to the most densest aspect to the highest aspect. So in a very dense aspect, this is an atom, literally. Okay? This is our subconscious mind, literally. No mystery, no what's this, literally. And then we can do studies into what is the subconscious mind, right? You can do these studies as well. This is the basic overstep overview of this complete Kemetic cosmology so we can get into the actual laws of our awareness, right? So you have positive, negative. This is where atom comes. Then from that, no creation has existed yet. There's no aspect of creation here yet. Okay, what you have here is the basic fundamental of an atom. So an atom itself, if you think about it, is the first thing to be created. So it's where law exists. This is where Mahat is. Mahat is ever present within this component. This is where law comes into existence. And again, if you get Mental Nature 3 by Ron Furman, you'll get into very, very details about this specifically. Okay? Mental Nature 3 by Ron Furman. Okay? So this is Mahat is ever present. As soon as creation exists, there has to be a law in order for it to exist upon. And that's what Mahat is. Even though Mahat is part of the tree of life, she is the basic fundamental in which the laws in which the trees of life can even exist. It's very correct, the law. Okay? And if you study, if I read the definition of an atom, you will see that it's basically defining this, and it's even bringing into light that even within biology, this is where laws exist. All laws are basically what we would call differentiation, or deductions. You hear about the law of deductions. Basically going deeper within yourself, right? To the higher aspect of yourself. Okay? So from here we have Geb and Nu. So this is the first act of creation now. Is Geb and Nu. Okay, Geb represents the earth, physical, and then the body, and Nu would be more heavenly. Okay, mental energy. Okay. Then Geb and a father. This is father and mother of everything. Okay. Then from they give birth to Ausarian sect, Heru. Okay, they give birth to Heru. Okay, they also give birth to Set and Nephet. Okay. Now, when you study this tree of life, you will see that even if you're dealing with the life force, there is these aspects are mental faculties representing left and right way thinking, inner and other thinking. Okay, and this is a rough overview, so we can answer lots of questions before we get into the other tree of life, which is the Ausarian tree of life. Okay, now in the raw tree of life, you have basically Hetep, which is peace. Okay. Here you have Amen. And here you would have Nu, or Anu, or even Nu. Right? Different names for the same thing in essence. Okay. Here you would have Amen. And they're absolutely and totally the exact same thing in regards to what it means to us. Okay. When you look into the specifics of the tree of life, you start to see differentiation. Okay, but in essence, it's a subconscious mind. So in the Sar tree of life, where you have Ra as the head of our spirit, you have Asir, which is representing ourself and our consciousness. Okay, that's where you get the word Ansar, all the above, King, Buddha, everything comes to God, right? That's where you get that word. Even Rasta. You see what I'm saying? I personally derived very similar in regards to that. And also, just a quick note that in Kemetic, the word Jah is a word of power that basically brings to life a higher nature, that invigorates a higher nature. Just a quick little thing like that I discovered recently when I was doing that herbal meditation, and this is in the meditation. So you have Asir, Tahuti, Sekir. I'm just going to go down the line. Erubuti, Heru, Sebek, Heperu, Aset, and Get. So you obviously you'll see connections, you'll see Aset in here, and also, okay, now if you read again Meditative Volume 3, you'll very specifically get into why Tepnu, Shu, and Ra as a trinity of creation also is represented here as a trinity of creation with the Sar, etc. He will get into how Heru, okay, here Heru is actually named as Heru M. That's how it would be pronounced. Because it's a different aspect again in this tree. Like this is dealing with your awareness, this is dealing with your energy. So the name of Heru here is Heru and Mahat. So in Mechanism 3, he will explain very clearly how Heru and Mahat turns into Herukuti, the warrior, Mahat, which is what you're fighting for, the law you're fighting for, and Heru. Okay? He will explain it very clearly. The essence is that here you're dealing with your spirit, energy, matter. Here you're dealing with your consciousness, will. So the laws have subtle differences. And that's why there's two systems. Okay? All right. So, this class is intended to focus on this. So we covered this so that we can really get to this and cover the aspects of the complete picture. Now, one of the main important things to understand is that differentiation and deduction is what is occurring here. At the very top, you have Amen, which is peace. It's not a part of the tree of life. It's essentially the subconscious realm. It's subjective matter. It's where everything comes out of. So all laws, just like in Islam that we're taught, all laws are essentially deductions of this one law. So from Amen, every law is deducted into these laws here. Okay, so everything is a source. All the source is Islam in essence. Okay, it really and truly is. That's why these Kemetic scriptures, the Purdah and Heru, were brought into America and then transformed by Nobudrabi into a different mode of way of thinking for that time and space in the 1920s, with the essential basic lessons remaining the absolute same, adapting to that time and space in order to teach his people, us. You know, and in order for us to come 360, Sheik and I were talking on the phone, and we were just talking for a little bit, and just basically showing, literally getting to the connection of the nation of Islam with the nations of the earth, Christianity, Judaism, the Wahhabian, Kemetic, Moorish, all seeing all the links right now. And we're actually going to put them together, and we're going to literally link everything together because it's right in front of our face. The reason that it's important, like I'll ask a question within myself, is why is it important to know these things? Because within these things, get off the books and start going into the laws. The same way we know that we have lungs, we have a heart, you know, we have feet and all these things. We have to understand that we have divisions of our spirit, and those divisions, okay, these divisions of our spirit are controlled by 11 laws. So in essence, we have 11 faculties within us. These 11 faculties have also been noted as in Yoruba, as Rishas, right, and saints in the West. Okay, in psychology they call it personality types, and they exist within us. They're as real as day. They're basically Ra's desires. That's another way they call it. Ra's, the spirit, right? Desires. They're also talents. Some of us are stronger. Some of us are stronger in some things than others, but we all have the capability to do everything. So the 11 laws is the essence of our being is ourself, our true self, which is our consciousness, which is why this is true life exists. Now, one thing actually I wanted to read real quick. Give me a second.
Can I just ask you a question?
Absolutely.
So you said it's two different systems. The Ra tree of life deals with spirit, energy, matter.
Exactly.
What is the other one? Is the Ausarian?
That's right.
What does that mean?
Consciousness will. And that's yourself. Make a note that consciousness will is yourself. When you want to identify with yourself, this is who you need to identify with. Okay, a fear. Know the spirit you don't identify with. That's like identifying with your foot. You know, calling it your foot. Understanding that it's the foot. Understanding when you see problems and emotions, it's not saying, oh, my problems or my emotions, because it's impossible. There's no energy matter here. You have to understand that those are the problems facing yourself, which is your awareness. We're going to get into the exercises, which is going to clarify a lot of it. But I wanted to read something real quickly about the tree of life itself, because this right here is why none of us have a universal grasp of, or not universal grasp, sorry, a universal understanding amongst each other, because the tree of life has been taken from us. It's been kept secret in Kabbalah, which is compared to this is some new school stuff. But the fact that none of us have this understanding, or few of us have this understanding as a composition, the tree of life, is why we lose track of all the different aspects. As soon as we put it together in this tree of life, then we can understand that they're all interdependent in one of itself. And in fact, they all are deductions, differentiations from the one original piece. That's all they really are. Here we go. So the greatest error that can be made at this point is to interpret the above diagram as an arbitrarily created conceptual or theoretical explanation of the ordered system underlying physical reality. Okay, it represents the 9 emanations. Okay, 9 emanations. I'll get into it. The 9 emanations that are the shaping factors of all physical structures and events. All physical structures and events. Sound like a person, place, and things. Sound like nouns. The underlie, direct, and integrate all physical realities, from the subtlest subelectronic forces like an atom to the complex galaxies of the organ system making up the physical body of man. From the most primitive instinct of the slime mold to the divine manifestation in the spirit, the divine spirit, awareness. Okay? From the most primitive instinct of slime on mold to the most divine manifestation in the spirit of man. They are what the Comedians call the Nectaru. Yorubas call the Orishas, Westerners translate as deities, archangels, etc. So the key point emphasized here is that you can't look at any one of these without looking at complete true life, which is why I do this overview to understand that we're dealing with our being. We're here because we're dealing with our being. We want knowledge of our being, which is cosmology. That's what cosmology comes down to. My name is KTS, which means know thyself. That's what I need to realize is the most important thing. Cosmology deals with knowledge itself. Your man's being is composed of 2 things. That's why we do this overview of the 2 systems, so that we can understand that you can't deal with one alone. You can't deal with one by here and one. It's like dealing with one law and you're in a certain situation where you only focus on that one law, so you don't know how it connects to the next law, which is very relative, maybe to your case. It's impossible. And the point made here is that this isn't just an arbitrarily made piece of design, right? In fact, it's the way it's actually brought together is like, if you probably look at, like, this is just a thought, if you look at a lot of molecular structures and stuff, I bet you see a lot of formation of this DNA, things of this nature, because they say that that picture of Kabudi, the Caduceus, is basically going up this tree of life, you know, so we're dealing with something that's very powerful and serious, and we need to emphasize that point, that without this tree of life, our understanding and reasoning of these laws are not going to be there. Or we'll lose track and focus of these things. We need to look at it as a complete system. So that's why we take that time to really emphasize that point before we get into the law. So the first law, okay, and the reason, before I get into the law, the reason that this class really came about, because right now, it's an initiation system going on, okay? So the Mechanetic 4 that just came out from Ronnie for a Man, basically it's called the Ausarian resurrection. And these are the lessons that have been given out to everybody. I'm sorry I don't have them today. Because a lot of it costs a lot to photocopy stuff. I just didn't have the money to keep photocopying all those pages. But when I'm working on being able to scan them and email them, but I gotta get certain permission because once those things go online and they find the source, it really clicks on this. So it's a different aspect than me photocopying, which and giving them out is different than putting it online. So that's the only reason why I haven't emailed them technically yet. Just taking that moment to get that go ahead or find a best way to get the lessons to everybody without having to buy the book if you can. But I suggest you go online and buy it. Kawi Enterprises, and it basically what's happening right now started February 21st is an initiation. Okay? And the initiation is based on the Ausarian letter. Okay? These are the rituals. Okay, we're going to keep going back to the same point. These are the rituals that we have to do in order to initiate, start, get going, come to light of the laws within that constitutes our being. So that's the rituals going on here. Simultaneously, there's rituals that are going on here that coincide more with your astrology, which just invigorate or rejuvenate or bring power to that part of the spirit. So there's two things going on here. One is dealing with becoming consciously aware and implementing, initiating the laws and applying them, of course. And one is dealing with energizing and rejuvenating, and energizing that part of the spirit. So in February 21st, okay, we started with Amen. And it had assignments. If you look at your assignments, it basically stated, I'm going to get into it real quick. So, Amen. We experience the influence of the nectar Amen as the desire for peace. So this is when we need to get into understanding what it means to each person individually. There's nothing that I can teach you. All it can do is pass on information, literally reading off scriptures, and what it means to yourself. Okay? We all have the urge for peace. That is the one divine Islam. That is the one law that is differentiated into every other law. That is the first thing that we need to initiate within our being. We experience the influence of Amen as a desire for peace, a desire that can only be satisfied through the law of Amen. The goal of Amen's law is to nurture peace through the understanding and experience that it is our natural response to all challenges, period. And thus, understanding that if there's peace, okay, again, it comes back to knowledge of self. If there's peace, then that means we are our true self, because our conscious will, there's no energy matter. You can only be aware of energy matter, of anything that may be observed. Okay, so that's why this law is so important. It is dealing with our true self and our true nature in all challenges in life, how we will exceed in all the challenges. And if we think about it, if I think about it, I know that this is probably the hardest thing, just to simply remain peaceful in the worst of situations. And he gives examples like in any situation. Next paragraph states that there are aspects of our being that can be perceived: the physical body, emotions, sensations, thoughts, and consciousness. There is another aspect of our being that is imperceptible. Amen. Amen was the word the ancient Egyptians used to denote this aspect of man's being. It is imperceptible because it is composed of man's self, consciousness, will, our true self, okay, which is devoid of energy matter and of the state of spirit prior to differentiation or manifestation into the objective aspects of man's being, the mind, the soul, body, and its conditions. In other words, it is the original and essential state of our being. Note that the definition given goes beyond Western psychology's concept of subconscious. All right? So when we deal with the Kemetic cosmology, we also get over all of that aspect of the personalities and what subconscious and conscious means and ego. That stuff gets thrown up the frame. The same way all the aspects of Westernized religion and way of looking gets thrown up the frame. Redefining. So, in Amen, the first law, which goes from February 21st to March 21st, okay, which I gave up the lessons for, you go through these readings and basically it's reason the laws. So there's a component in which you read and you reason and implement the laws in your brain. You reason, not implement, but reason and really get to the knowledge and awareness of it. Then there's assignments, okay? And I'm going to read a couple of them. So one of the first things you're asked in the initiation work is to make a list in which most people seek to establish peace in their lives. List the ways in which you seek to establish peace in your ways. Make a note that all of your efforts to establish peace, that are not based on the 11 laws must fail and will fail. They are human attempts to establish peace. Continuing on that path will deny you of your divinity, as it will nourish your human self-image. So the first thing is to simply write down. The mere act of writing down something is taking something from your subconscious and from your conscious mind out, and that act in itself is very it teaches you. The mere act of not just saying it in your mind, but actually writing it down, as simple and as subtle as it may be, as saying, I will not seek peace through smoking weed. I will not seek peace. The act of writing it compared to thinking it is a whole other process. And that's when this application part comes into play. One of the next things is asked to write from the list of the human attempts to establish peace in your life, compose your declarations and recite them at night as the last thing you do before going to bed. Okay, so as I stated in the first class, when you see the pharaohs, the big statues of the pharaohs and the queens and the kings and the gods, and they stand like this, okay, they're meditating. And the funny thing is, there's a forum, okay, I'm gonna write down the information here. So Taui, Taui. So go to Taui, you can go to forums or bids. Sorry to cut it short, but it's important because I was on the forum that was created by Ron and the Four Men in regards to doing the initiation process, because initiation is supposed to be done as a groups, not singularity. Okay, and just yesterday, they made note. One of the elders made note of that exact point, which I've never heard before, which is when you see the statues and the big statues of the gods and queens and Kemetic like this, they're in meditative state. They're in a state of meditation. So the question that comes is, what is meditation really? The same way that there's no mystery or blurs or conceptions or thought. It's very clear. The same thing with meditation. Meditation is a very clear and precise science. Okay, it basically is composed of a couple of things. The first and foremost thing, what it does is your breathing allows your brain to stop functioning from roughly 25 to 38 hertz to anywhere from, say, some masters of 3 to maybe 8 hertz. So that's what's happening to you in meditation. And what that means to us is that we're able to take one conscious thought, okay, focus on it, and subject it into our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, and enable to basically rewire that mode of thinking, your acts, your behavior, something that you want to work on. So if, for instance, you have a problem with smoking weed because you need to find peace, okay, then you would go into meditation state, okay, which I'll explain a little more clear in regards to how to actually do it, and you think of yourself being in a situation. This is an exact one of the assignments. So you would picture yourself going into that meditation, okay, and then you would imagine yourself not smoking weed, telling yourself that the law is that peace is my nature, and that you can be peaceful. Imagine yourself being peaceful with others. And what you're doing is you're not only reasoning, you're literally rewiring your conscious with your subconscious and applying the laws to your being through a meditative state, because your brain is now resonating at a lower frequency, which allows signals like software to be implemented into your being, your complete being, okay? Which is central, okay? So that's what's happening. So meditation process, you can deal with, some masters have been known to meditate all day, but essentially you need to, I would recommend anywhere, I would say 20 minutes is peak. And what you would do is you set a soft timer, so you're not going to get abrupt, right? Set a soft timer. If you have meditation music, great. You know what I mean? That's cool. There's actually meditation CDs and stuff that go hand in hand with stuff that help you. So basically the first and foremost important thing is your posture. So our base, just like the snake, the Kundalini, base of our spine, this is our head. We used to have somewhat of an S shape, always naturally. Okay? So that would be the position. Whether you're sitting on the ground or on the chair, I always recommend a chair, right? Your feet, both feet flat on the ground, and the smaller your back is arched. It doesn't mean that you're like this or what have you, but like this. And if by doing this alone, you're allowing your physiological being to bring more oxygen to your brain to allow clearer thinking and less thought drift, just by doing this alone. All right, this is something we should be doing naturally all the time. And of course, I myself can almost never do it. Well, not never in a sense, but when you're not thinking about it, you're always doing it. So this would be the position. You would breathe from your nose strictly, because even if you read Malachi York book, the breath you'll say you never to breathe in from your mouth ever. That's a good book to read. It's always breathe into your nose. Your tongue, in order just to not have to think about it, can rest on the thumb line on the top of your teeth. And you breathe in through your nose on account of basically an account of 8. So you would breathe in on a count of 4 and breathe out on a count of 4 to 8 naturally. And what's occurring right now, okay, is you're breathing in through your nose and your belly is doing the moving, not your lungs, not your diaphragm, but literally in what they would call your tetian, where the kundalini is boiled up. So you're allowing the energy to go into that being. Now, by doing that alone and focusing on one thing is the meditation process. Okay, I want to go class where people who want to meditate, you do that once a week or twice a week, or we do it here. But it's something that you have to be prepared and want to do. Okay, so the basis of all of these rituals application is meditation. This should be a meditation class if we really wanted to apply it, but no buts. But we need to have a basics of what it is we're going to meditate and everything. So the essence of meditation, programming. You have to program these laws into yourself, into your conscious mind, and allow God, in essence, to be God, basically, your divine person. Okay, so that was the basis of the Amen laws, assignments. Okay, so there are laws that you need to. So when you're in meditation state, back up 2 seconds. When you're in meditation state, your awareness is not gone. People think that first of all you're like gone, you can't think about it. No, what's happening is that you're being centralized and focused into one aspect. And if you read the book of the Noble Trail Lead book, Assuming the Nation, you can, I forget the exact page, but the brother wrote in that book that Islam, through the Moorish understanding, is thought focus and the process of focusing the thought of one law, peace, which is essentially the same as Kemetic, the same principle as Kemetic. So one of the laws in which you do your meditation, which you're aware of, is focusing on one law, is in Amen. The first one that's asked is, I am that which perceives all around and within my being, yet no one can perceive that I am. Okay? So the law that we need to implement, first and foremost, is that I am that which perceives all around and within my being, yet no one can perceive that I am. Okay? Visualize your person, okay, acting in a manner that gives evidence of the fact that you are at peace, not emotional in the situation. If you have a tendency to yell, see your person speaking softly, calming, and smiling instead. If you have a tendency to run away, see your person staying. If you have a tendency to smoke weed, don't smoke weed. If you find yourself smiling, breathing, doing other activities, interacting. So this is asked to do every single night for a month. And by doing this at this time of year, focusing only on Amen, literally, even with your brothers and sisters, always be like, yo, Amen, peace, peace. Keep it in your mind. You're literally initiating that aspect of it. This is our rites of passage. This is our Kemetic rites of passage. So you do it all month long. Okay? And I gave the lessons for Amen, so focus on it. And do, it's up to you, really. Right? Now we're in the process of Asir. Asir started March 21st. So, what's the time saying, God? Perfect. That's more than perfect.
I want to ask a question. I heard you mention at least 3 times not to smoke weed. As a Rasta man, I've been smoking weed since 1977. And there are lots of Rastafari who smoke weed, whether in Toronto or Jamaica or Universal. What's wrong with smoking weed?
Okay, so there's nothing wrong with smoking pure THC. What's wrong is the wrong aspect of smoking weed. The part that I think is wrong about smoking weed is that we don't get pure clean weed. It's tampered with and so on and so forth. That's what I find wrong with the weed because I personally also smoke weed, and that's why I use it as an example, because I find recently that you're using it more to find peace rather than a meditation and needing it is an error. So the only thing I really find wrong with smoking weed is that we can't really get quick clean weed. Like when I go to Jamaica and get weed right off the button, I don't feel the same way. It's a totally different feeling. So weed contains THC, which actually enables us to get into a great meditation state. And most people will not, most meditate, like even Ron Furman say don't do it. Me personally, not saying speaking for the book, I find that with pure THC, which I find only in Jamaica, personally, you get a really good meditation. And it's a lot different, especially childish versus papers. I find a total difference also. And the amount and when you smoke.
The difference is when you're using it to relieve stress, when you're using it as a crutch.
That's another difference.
Just like anything else.
It also helps based on the kind of diet you have. Because there are some people who smoke weed and get talked about, that you get in a vegetative state.
Yeah.
And there's some who can achieve a higher vegetative state and go into themselves and reflect. So there are other variables involved.
Very much so.
But it's just that was just a big concern because the emphasis was, you could have said, don't drink alcohol.
Very true. I get, you know why I do that? You're right.
Don't have so much sex. Because that's
very good.
Process too.
Very good.
So I was
more examples.
concerned about the fact that you emphasized it 3 times. I thought there was a specific reason for that.
You know why I brought it more than because I myself are in the process of making sure that I'm cutting it out as a crutch, as the sister was saying, and trying to find it much better. That's why. But you're right. Sex, I would say, is even a bit worse, and alcohol is much worse. You're very right. Sorry, anyone was going to say something?
I was going to say, marijuana being part of the herb family, herbs are usually, better off ingested or internally used as a tea or for eating habits. But like you said, in regards to the herbs, like it's not the best quality that you can get here in this environment. However, I also indulge. But in order to get a higher state in myself, sometimes you have to wean, like you wean a child off the breast.
Right.
And just like the Ross said, you can't overindulge in anything, whether it be alcohol, marijuana, sexual activity, and so on and so forth. So I think when we keep marijuana to the basics, it's an herb, first and foremost, and it should be recognized as an herb instead of a drug/hallucinant. And for those who do partake at your will and for the betterment of your higher self.
And that's very true. And all that being said, mushrooms have DMT, which are very good for you. Peyote has certain chemicals that also, and actually there's tons of studies. We all must have seen some. There's tons and tons of studies that talk about the neurological function when you're dealing with certain chemicals like THC and DMT.
You're changing your brain waves. It's like a meditative
It basically brings that state. The key is that back in the day we could breathe and do that, and we can still do it today. So a good thing would be I would suggest then to balance it all. If we smoke weed, I myself do and use that. I also make sure that there's times when I don't and I meditate as well, which I would say brings the highest form of meditation through the breath. Before we need anything, our highest form of meditation will come through our breath itself. Okay. And again, I recommend the book The Breath by Malachi York. Very amazing book. Very, very good book. So, as the brothers and sisters just mentioned, not only smoking weed, indulging, we look through keys from having sex, from drinking, from all these other things. So the key to understand is that we go into meditation state for a month and initiate the aspect that I am that which perceives all around and within my being, yet no one can perceive that I am. And you visualize your person acting in a manner that gives evidence of the fact that you are at peace, not emotional in the situation. If you have a tendency to yell, see a person speaking softly, calmly, smiling, and so on, all these things that we mentioned. So going into meditation and doing this. Another law for our man is, I am at peace in this situation and all others because peace is my nature. I have been made in the likeness of God. So in each time, there's about 4 laws that we need to implement that covers that one law. So the other one is you would go into meditation state again. Once you did that, say for 3, 4, 5 days, you go into meditation state again and slightly change it. So visualize a situation that causes you to suffer now or in the past. If you are still vulnerable to suffering, it could be a thought of a past or future or present event or an actual occurrence. Okay? Recite the law of a man. I am at peace in this situation and all others because peace is my nature. I have been made in the likeness of God. And then visualize yourself, your person, acting in a manner that gives evidence that you did not suffer from the result of the situation. You are smiling, laughing, singing, peace, being at peace, basically, regardless. So again, doing this process for 30 days. Okay, we're doing this, you're initiating on that. So I just want to cover Asir real quick because that's what we're in right now. Asir, a man and Asir is the most important laws, as we said. A man is just it's all about the differentiations of a man, and Asir is almost like that physical manifestation, that one law. I am one with everything. So not only
Is the similarity between Amen and Aman? Is it one?
Absolutely the same. Absolutely. And again, Amun Ray, you got Amun Ray, would just mean, because say Amen means hidden and subconscious, Amun Ray would just mean the light that is hidden. Right? So very subtle differences. That's all. Thank you. So the next law, after knowing that we are at peace and doing this for a month, is I am one with everything. I am one with everything. The star is one. All these coincide with numbers as well, right? And then would be 0. And then the star is 1. That's all we're going to do with it. I am one with everything. Okay? So we experience the influence of the Netar Seer, or the archangel, or the talent, or the desire of God. It's in us through the desire for oneness with others. And the peace and security that comes from knowing that we are one. Like the one meditation I keep is, if I'm one with everything, how can anything be against me? How can anything be against me if I'm one with everything? Anything. I'm talking about, even someone coming with me with a knife. If you think about it martial arts, you can't think this guy's coming against you. You gotta think I'm gonna be one with him and he's dead. And I did. You know what I mean? So that one love, that oneness with everything, right? That's key. And what we're asked to do in this aspect is, okay, we read through, again, come down to just like the laws that she teaches us. We have to know them, reason them, understand them, and then apply them. What's the use if you're going to court, you're still acting in your wrong person? Apply them. So we understand, we put into our brain 24/7. You know, when you're talking to your people that you're initiating, say 1. Say that's there. Keep saying it. Keep bringing it into your mind for a month. Initiate that aspect of your being. Keep doing it every day. This is our rites of passage. This is our Kemetic rites of passage. So the goal of a star's law is to nurture peace and oneness with all through the understanding and experience that oneness is a fact of the universe. Again, coming back to cosmology, which is the scientific fact of everything being interrelated by law, everything under the cosmos. Yourself is unperceivable. Okay, yourself is unperceivable. It was said in the last chapter that there are 2 fundamental aspects of man's being. It is unperceivable, amen, and the other perceivable, thoughts, minds, emotions, sensations, and the physical body, okay? The division of the spirit. This duality of being extends to all aspects of our being in different ways. We will consider here now, it applies to man's identity, the self. This is my identity, a soul. I identify myself with a soul. Now, I want everyone just to repeat this after me. Anuk means I am. Asir is what we're talking about. This is what I say this in my mind all the time. And if you choose, you can say it too. Anuk Asir. Anuk Asir. I am Asir. There's nothing else. I am nothing else but Asir. My true self, my true who I am. When I say I and this and I, it's always Asir. Anuk Asir. Right? Anuk Asir. Just like the Kemetic scriptures that run from and came up with Anuk Oneter, or Nuk Oneter, I am a divine being. I am a Sir. Okay. Asir, the self, was meant to be the initiator of all that happens in man's life. Okay? Asir, the self, our true self, is supposed to be the initiator of all things that happen in man's life. Okay? The self has two roles, one passive and the other active. Consciousness and will. Okay? Passive and active. Consciousness is passive. It's just consciousness. Will is when the consciousness starts to actually act upon itself. There's only one will. There's not your will and my will and his will. There's one will. This is what we're talking about. The divine will, cosmology, is the divine law, the will. That when you die, you have a will. The divine will. That is literally the matrix of everything. And we can be in tune with it from our consciousness and act solely based on that. Which will basically leads to success, you know what I mean? Happiness, joy, peace. Like, why do we even bother with all this stuff, right? Why? Because we want to succeed, we want to actually do things, know ourselves, and accomplish things that we need to. Just like we want to maybe go to the park. We need to know how to walk and go to the park. You know, some people need to know how to appreciate the things that they see at the park. You know, we need to understand the full compasses of our being, knowledge itself. Okay, so before I finish real quick, the three aspects of Asir. Okay, Asir represents the self, which is the consciousness will of the supreme being. Okay, which dwells in us, as it was called as Asirs in the book of knowing the transformation of Ra. Like here, would be actually considered Asirs. It's the awareness of within the spirit, but embodied into a being is Asar. That's when you would hear Asirs versus Asar, and people get confused. What's the difference? Asirs is talking about the awareness within God's being. Asar is talking about that energy manifested in the being, in the being of Asir. Clear? So the three aspects of Asir. It represents the self, which is consciousness and will of the supreme being. As such, it was called Asirs in the book of knowing the transformation of Ra. 2. It represents the incarnation of the supreme being's self, consciousness in man, the firstborn child of Nun and Geb. As such, it is the self of man. It is you. 3. The spiritual vehicle of consciousness, and it represents the spiritual vehicle of consciousness and manifests itself as conscience. Incidentally, we must take note that conscience is an objective reality operating within the subjective realm of man's mind. This is evidenced by the fact that we have no control over its pronouncements, and the fact that it can only act as a teacher of righteousness and judge of our conduct through its objective status. Okay? So it acts as a judge. This is when they say only God can judge me, but only Asir can judge me. So every night, we're going to give one more example of the Asir. Every night for Asir in a month, you would read over and apply reason the laws. And then the first assignment would be this. And I've been doing this now, actually. I've been doing this one because he says in this book you can do this for months upon months. Yet within the time frame of 30 days, you divide it up based on the amount of assignments you have. But I've been doing this one up until now, since March 21st. Okay, so you would review this certain aspect of the book and reason in your mind. Then after doing meditation, after getting into a meditative state, you can either do an Asir chant. If you read the books, you'll learn the Asir chants, which are all the other chants throughout all history are connected to all of these as the source. So you would do the Asir chant, roughly 15 minutes or so, and then you would make an effort to separate in your mind. Okay, now I want everyone to listen to this clearly. Okay, this is how we're going to do it. Okay, and this is if you have the assignments, and this is the basic assignment for Asir. And if you don't, then you can write this down. This is the basic assignment of Asir that we need to do at this point. Okay. So after being in a meditative state, make the effort to separate in your mind the thoughts and feelings that you are perceiving. Okay, the thoughts and feelings that you are perceiving from the act of perception itself, from your consciousness of yourself as the perceiver, the seer. Okay, and I've read Malachi York books, where he in the ancient mystical order of Melchizedek, and he talks about certain exercises and rituals, and this is very clearly in the cycle exactly one that he mentions. One way to do this is look yourself in the mirror. Look in the mirror and start to, that's how he says it, is look in the mirror and look at who's looking through the mirror. And start to understand that there's a difference between what you're perceiving, the process of perceiving, and who and what is perceiving, the perceiver itself. That exercise, you go into meditative state, and that in itself is the Ausarian ritual, furthermore. And there's a couple more, we're just going to keep it at that. Basically understanding that you are one with everything, and that you are perceiving all that is physical. Okay? Real quickly also, the second step to that is knowing that I have not identified myself with the mind, I have not identified myself with emotions, I have not identified myself with physical body, I have not identified myself with my career, my job, my person. So that's like the next step from that. Okay, understand that you are the perceiver of what's being perceived. You can perceive the process of perception itself, and that you are not identifying with what you are perceiving and the process of perception, which we do. We identify with the process of perception sometimes. I always identify when this happens. You always we tend to identify with the things that we're perceiving and even the process, when we need to identify with the perception itself. And I find my experience with doing this, I find that when I'm in the meditative state, and even if I'm not, I'll smoke herb sometimes, and I'll do this exact exercise. And I'll find that the feeling, it's a subtle feeling, right? And the process of me identifying what's being perceived, then the process of perceiving it gets closer to me. I can feel the subtlety changing, and then when I differentiate that from the perception itself, like me as a perceiver, it goes deep. Like I start to feel the energy deeper, like literally behind my eye. It's just like my own experience with that. So that's the Ausarian, that would be the Ausarian initiation for the month. We're just gonna focus on that, real important. And any real questions, brother?
So the assignment of Ausarian is we say make the effort to separate in my mind.
Yes, I'll tell you exactly. So. Okay, so after going into a meditative state, okay, so it's same posture and everything we were speaking about, best you do. Make the effort to separate in your mind, A, the thoughts and feelings that you are perceiving, from D, the act of perception itself, from C, your consciousness of yourself as the perceiver, the seer, a seer. And then just the next step from that, okay, is basically you must persevere in this meditation for many months until you experience yourself truly detached from all that can be perceived, as opposed to your person that cannot be perceived, your true person, yourself. This is the experience of self that is needed in order to detach yourself from your thoughts, your emotion, and your body. It is the austere experience as symbolized by the eye under the throne, under or beside the throne of a set. Okay, so after that process, make note to yourself, I have not identified myself with my mind, with the mind. I have not identified myself with the emotions. I have not identified myself with the physical body, with the career, job, and all these. That's it. And there's a few other scenarios, but that's basics for us here. Any other questions? I'm good. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for your attention.
Start with leading up to divine constitution and bylaws, Moorish America. Act 1. The Grand Chief and Chairman of the Moorish Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce the law with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Fridays are holy day of rest because on Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion, and all that may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy days, these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all members must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the governments in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Ali the Prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become.
Peace.
Peace. Give thanks for that, yo. I put in the chat if anybody had questions, but it looks like everybody was clear.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, I guess. Yeah, and they have the videos. If they have any questions, you can go back and check them out.
Straight up. Don't forget, Mars. If it's not too late, don't forget scrolling at the bottom. We got MHHS, eyes wide open. Numbers there. Feel free to call in if you haven't called in already. Get yourself in the queue. Well, give thanks, brother KTS.
Thank you. Give thanks, bro. Grand Sheik, Cujo.
And you know, the next one we're gonna be first. We're doing our first Tuesday of every month. Yeah. So the next session, we're looking at the second of February. And also make sure you go out there. We had put it up before we put it up during the session. Make sure you go check out the Medu Netter series of books. 1, 2, 3, 4. But 4 is where we're at right now.
Yeah.
With the Ausarian initiation.
Yeah, exactly.
And keep in mind again that this is the power of the unification. Recognizing that all these things are relative. So when they play their little game of the ancient Egyptians over there and the Moors over there and the Hebrews down there and the Rastafarians around there, all that is a fiction. All this stuff is the same, just like all the religion, Pentecostal over there and Islam over there and Jews over there, all of it's the same. There's no separation in this. Anybody who's moving with the perspective of these are separate, they're probably out to play.
Exactly. And if I may add, anywhere there is like separation, then that's where the falsehoods would be.
Straight up. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide.
Peace and love.
Honors to all the mothers out there. Peace to the Moors in the chat. You see how quiet the chat was when we're on the other channel. We have trolls up and down the damn chat. Chat was quiet today. Everybody got their chance to taking the lesson.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks again, fam.
Give thanks to you, man. Keep it up. 11 years and plus.
And
Thanks
plus,
for you. Thank you for the platform and everything, man. Give thanks, brother.
you already know.
Okay,
Peace and
peace,
love,
everybody. Peace and love, everybody. Enough respect. Thanks for your time.
Islam.
Islam. Peace.